Tēnā koutou te whānau o Auckland Unitarians. Tēnā koutou nā manahiri. No mai, haere mai ki tēnei whare karakia a te atua tēnā tātou, tēnā katoa katoa. This morning, we will be exploring the wisdom of Dr. Seuss. So let me welcome you in Seussian anapestic tetrameter into this circle of community, this space made sacred by Auckland Unitarians for 114 years. On this fine Sunday morn, as we welcome new friends, it seems a good time to recall and contend with the wild, winding roads that all seekers must wend. Here among UUs, we think that it's best to find your own path. We believe in the quest. With those brains in your head and those feet in your shoes, you've a right to explore any route that you choose. There may have been one day a few years ago when the thoughts in your head needed more room to grow. So you laced up your boots and you threw on a pack and set out on your journey without looking back. You were hunting for truth. You were looking for clues to see what was real, to see what's a ruse. You decided right then there'd be no sacred cows. You must search to the limits that reason allows. No premise is safe from a seeker like you once you set out to find what is spiritually true. That your path led you here this morning is no cause to repent. We welcome you 100%. Now worship ends when you join us for a cuppa and goodie. We humbly invite you. It's our sacrament of hospitality. Today's topic about being in the waiting place was requested by one of you who acknowledges being in it right now. I'm sure there are others of you who are there as well. I offer it this particular Sunday because the whole world is certainly there, waiting for the U.S. election to be over. It will be the longest 3 days on record. We are consumed by the question of what will the world be like on our Thursday. Anxiety and insecurity abound. Our collective demons scurry in the shadows. Let us join together and find courage and hope in one another as we face the unknown. Let there be light, the light of joy, the light of happiness, and the light of contentment. May it illuminate our paths and fill our lives with peace. And let there be dark, for it is from our dark places that we are brought forward, tired and tested, and impelled toward growth. It is in these places that we realize compassion and learn to love. And there was day, and there was night, and there was joy, and there was sorrow, and it was good. The sermon and the topic of the day is all based on a book by Dr. Seuss. So it's called Oh, the Places You'll Go. "26 years ago, Dr. Seuss published his last book, and it became an instant success as a graduation gift. Oh, the Places You'll Go. Last Sunday, if you were here, you may have met Ron. We began seminary together 37 years ago, and our lives have been intertwined ever since. I preached at his ordination, he served at mine. I was his best man, he was mine. He babysat my kids. He honored me by asking me to be his first child's godfather. We knew each other's families and stayed at each other's homes. Our families holidayed together. We encouraged, supported, ribbed, and challenged each other for over 24 years. Then I moved to New Zealand, and we lost contact. So after 13 years of silence, the reunion was sweet. When we were in seminary, a lot of folks had high expectations for the two of us. They were quick to tell us, oh, the places you'll go. Well, this past week we caught up with each other on, oh, the places we've been. It turns out that we took completely divergent roads in our ministry. Sometimes that was because of the opportunities that came our way. Sometimes that was because of the choices we made. But in spite of that, our journey had much in common. We had both been to the waiting place more than once. Dr. Seuss describes our journeys so well, he could have been watching us. I know you just heard it, but hear these words again. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest, except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch and your gang will fly on. You'll be left in a lurch. You'll come down from the lurch with an unpleasant bump, and the chances are then that you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. You'll come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're dark. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right 3/4, or maybe not quite? Or go around back and sneak from behind? Simple, it's not. I'm afraid you will find for a mind maker upper to make up his mind. You could get so confused that you'll start in to race down long wiggled roads at a breaknecking pace and grind on for miles across weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, towards a most useless place, the waiting place. For people just waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or the waiting around for a yes or no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. It turns out that Dr. Seuss wasn't focusing on Ron and me at all. Who knew? He was describing his own experience. Dr. Seuss's real name was Theodore Geisel. He used the pseudonym Seuss, his middle name, because he was waiting until he possessed the talent and experience to write, as he put it, the great American novel, the next great American novel. That novel never materialized, but Geisel spent his life writing the most popular and significant children's books in history. It would be hard to call his career anything but an incredible success. He was waiting for himself to become a serious writer, which he would never become. I find some comfort in that. Even the creative, successful, and illustrious check in to the waiting place. So in less poetic terms, what exactly is this place that most of us would prefer to avoid? I don't know anyone who likes being stuck in traffic or waiting for a medical test result or for a job offer. Right, Andrew? When we want something to happen, but that something won't happen for a while or even ever. It is uncomfortable and anxiety-inducing. It is to be here, but wanting more than anything to be there. Waiting at its worst is a rejection of the present. The problem, of course, is that we cannot actually reject the present. We are stuck, and no amount of lamentation or grumpiness or staring at the post slot will untether us from the present. Dr. Seuss refers to the old saying, "A watched pot never boils." We're all familiar with the fact that this is not technically true. A watched pot will boil, but it will feel slower and more agonizing than the unwatched pot. The hidden profundity in this saying is that to stare at water, willing it to boil sooner, is to fixate on an absence. It is to devote all our energy to emptiness. It is to narrow our field of vision to a single thing that isn't there. And if we have narrowed our vision to something that isn't there, then we are seeing nothing. And that is why it's so uncomfortable. Because to anxiously and single-mindedly wait is to devote ourselves to nothing. Dr. Seuss describes this as the waiting place. The picture he paints is sort of a suspended animation where the focus is on what is not. It is a place where we cannot do anything and cannot leave. We seem to be utterly powerless, dependent on some external force to free us, God or a phone call or the rain or another chance. We have deposited all of our capacity to act on the other side of some uncontrollable event. Probably the worst part of the waiting place for me is that we are there alone. We dwell on our emotional state to such a degree it can consume us. We become it. We question and doubt ourselves. We blame and shame ourselves. We undermine our capacity to act. In Dr. Seuss's words, I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too, games you can't win because you play against you, all alone, whether you like it or not. Alone will be something. You'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. How do we get out of the waiting place? Dr. Seuss wisely avoids giving the answer. He just optimistically assures us, somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying. Although he does have one caveat. We will probably have to confront one or more of our demons before getting back on track with our lives. I will offer one way of making the waiting place less useless while awaiting our escape. I base it on his observation that life is a great balancing act. Instead of a single-minded focus on a future that is not yet, focus on the present. Engage in a mindful way of being. Stop standing in the kitchen staring at the infuriatingly calm, lukewarm water. Instead, notice the hum of the refrigerator and the gleam of the kitchen sink or the scene outside the kitchen window. It won't control whatever event you're waiting for, but it does give you some degree of control of yourself. It can abate the paralysis of waiting. To mindfully engage with the present is to free ourselves of the notion that everything depends on whatever it is we're waiting for. Let me repeat that. To mindfully engage with the present is to free ourselves of the notion that everything depends on whatever it is we're waiting for. It is to stop viewing it as a hinge for our happiness or our wholeness, which means that it is to stop insisting on a single lens through which to view the situation. It is to open ourselves to multiple lenses, multiple possibilities for the future. It is to place our reliance on something other than that event. It is to become flexible, having more faith in ourselves. It is to acknowledge that the world will continue whether we participate in it or stand in our kitchen fixating on a pot of water. But mindfulness is only one piece of the puzzle. Mindfulness alone will not create a space for waiting to be a fruitful spiritual practice. To engage in useful waiting is to find a way to engage with both the present and the future at the same time. It is to interact with the world and ourselves as we are, while holding in our mind the world and ourselves as we want them to be. Yes, it is work. It is to work toward a vision in an excruciatingly invisible way. Think of the caterpillar's cocoon. A whole lot of nothing appears to be happening. To wait in a fruitful way is to be present, is to be in the present time with our present self and ask that self how we want to be at the awaited time, when we graduate or retire or get married. It is to wrestle with our soul, which is malleable, instead of with time, which is not. To torture the metaphor, it is to work on the pasta sauce while waiting for the pasta water to boil. This can manifest itself in many ways. Spiritual waiting can be as heavy as trying to make deep changes within ourselves, or as light as imagining all the different ways the awaited future can look. Primarily, to wait usefully is to be awake and not to reject either the present or the future. It requires being in a conversation between our current selves and future selves and not letting either lapse into a monologue. And if you are dexterous and deaf and never mix up your right foot with your left, will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Blessed be. For our meditation, I offer you, grown-up words for "Oh, the Places You'll Go." Words from the Four Quartets by T.S. Eliot. I said to my soul, be still and wait without hope, for hope would be hope for the wrong thing. Wait without love, for love would be love of the wrong thing. There is yet faith, but the faith and the love and the hope are all in the waiting. Wait without thought, for you are not ready for thought. So the darkness shall be the light, and the stillness the dancing. for our closing words. As we depart one from another, let our hearts be secure through every human season. Let our hearts be secure in seasons of anguish, as in seasons in joy, in seasons of failure, as in seasons of success, in seasons of uncertainty, as in seasons of security. Let our hearts be secure in this dual reality. We are worthy recipients of love and support we can never earn, and we are worthy providers of love and support others cannot earn. Let our hearts be secure, for hearts know and understand and will respond if invited in.